All right, we're going to go ahead here and get started. Thank you all once again for joining us for today's webinar. This is our program overview webinar. We typically do a number of webinars in the lead up to our fall start date, which I'll be talking about those dates and all that information. But we also do faculty interview webinars as well as student ambassador webinars, which I'll be sharing information about in the coming weeks. But thank you all so much. This is a great opportunity for you to learn about our program, for you to learn about what we offer, as well as for you to ask any questions that you may have. I'll definitely open the end of the webinar for questions, but I would also encourage you all to ask them via the chat throughout the webinar, and I can address them as we go. Quick little overview of what we will be covering here today. We're going to do an overview of the Jake Jabs Center for Entrepreneurship, as well as CU Denver as an institution. We'll be going through the MS in Entrepreneurship program structure, as well as the curriculum breakdown so that you have an idea of what you can anticipate from an academic standpoint. We'll talk about the certificates that we offer here at the center so that you're able to get a sense of the different options you have as a student here. Talk a bit about the program goals that we have set out for students, experiential learning and how that factors into our overall program, some of the networking and mentorship opportunities that we offer for students throughout the program, tuition, scholarships, all that information that I'm guessing a lot of you will be having questions about, an overview of the application as well as upcoming deadlines, a few student testimonials so you have an idea of kind of what students who have completed our program have to say about it. And then, as I noted, I will open the end of the webinar for any sort of Q&A that you may have as well. So, CU Denver's Business School, why is this a school that you should be considering going to? Well, this is Colorado's only premier urban research campus, which is located in the heart of downtown Denver. We are very, closely located to a number of Fortune 500 companies here in Denver. A lot of the entrepreneurs that we work with, a lot of the internships that we set students up with, all happen right in downtown Denver. So location-wise, you're in a really great area. We are AACSB accredited, which is the highest level of global accreditation, and we are part of the top 5% of business schools worldwide. This is a very strong school to begin your career in, and it puts you in a position where you're able to really get immediate access to the larger business ecosystem here in Denver from the university. We're also the most diverse research university in Colorado. 49% of our students are first generation, 42% are students of color, 8% are either active duty military personnel or veterans, and 7% of CU Denver students are international. There's a lot of different perspectives that come into play here at CU Denver, putting students in a position where they are not just being told one specific way to do things, but they're engaging with people from various backgrounds, from various perspectives on the world, which is only going to help better you, especially from an entrepreneurship standpoint, so that you are in a position where you're able to fully understand expectations of how to sell, how to grow a business on the global scale. Denver is the number 2 best place to live according to the U.S. News and World Report, and the 6th best place to start a business in America. We are a growing, booming city that is here to really welcome as many different people as possible and put you in a position for success. So within CU Denver, you will find the Jake Jabs Center for Entrepreneurship. That's where I physically am right now. This center was founded in 1996, almost 30 years ago, as the Bard Center, and it was renamed in 2013 following a $12 million gift from Jake Jabs. Jake Jabs is there on the screen with our university mascot. For those of you who may not know, Jake is a very inspiring entrepreneur here in the Denver area and really nationally in the United States. He grew up in Eastern Montana. Bought a guitar shop in the mid 1970s and then spun that off into buying American Furniture Warehouse during the recession in the late 1970s. He has built it into an empire here in the United States. American Furniture Warehouse offers excellent furniture for both indoor, outdoor, bedroom, kitchen, living room, what you name it, at affordable prices, direct delivery to most locations around the United States. Um, it is here to serve the middle class, build out the middle class, and he has built an incredible business model that is hard to deny against, hard to argue against. He's done an incredible job. He believes entrepreneurship, small business leadership is the way forward for the American experiment. Excuse me. And he believed that the best way to give back was to donate his money and his time to educating the entrepreneurs of the next generation. So we are a privately funded and enrollment funded academic department and resource center here in at the CU Denver Business School. Our goal is to foster entrepreneurship. That is what we think about on a day-to-day basis. That is what our goal is on a regular basis. We develop relationships with local businesses and local business leaders to provide opportunities and support for entrepreneurship students. And we offer experiential events that I will talk about later, like the Climb, that are there to drive you forward and drive your entrepreneurial studies forward. If you go to school here and if you utilize the Jake Jobs Center for Entrepreneurship, you're putting yourself in a position for hands-on education focused on small business leadership. A little bit of info about myself. I have decades worth of background experience and information in both undergraduate and graduate recruitment and advising. So what I think about on a day-to-day basis is how to help shape entrepreneurs and undergrad and graduate students for success long term. My contact information is listed here. If you've ever received an email from me, you've definitely received this information, but I would encourage you to take a screenshot of this here quickly. That way you have this info as we move forward with your time applying for and going back to school. Send me an email whenever you have questions. Give me a call if you're here in the United States, or set up an appointment via my Calendly page. We can go ahead and talk about your interests, what you're looking to accomplish as a student, and what makes most sense for you as a graduate student going forward. So, diving into the MS Entrepreneurship Program, there's a few things that differentiate us from lot of other programs here on a national level. I'll walk through them. I'm more than happy to answer any questions for clarification. More than happy to send as much information as you may need to really make sure that you're able to fully understand the program and what it's here for. So this is a customizable 30 credit curriculum. This allows you to choose any 10 courses in entrepreneurship that align with your interests, your goals, and your knowledge gaps. What's going to happen if you're accepted to the program, if you decide to enroll, is you and I will work together to build out your degree plan. I will keep you up to date on what classes are available, what classes are possible for you as a student to take within your time here, and we'll shuffle that around as needed based on interest, based on what you're looking for from an overall commitment standpoint. Whatever questions you have, however things change for you, online, in person, 4 classes, 2 classes, whatever it is, the order of the classes, it all really comes down to you, what you're interested in, and what's available and what's possible. So it's all customizable. We build that out together. We make sure that you're in a position where you're able to really feel like you're getting the education you need, not the education we've deemed that you need. There's a diverse range of classes that focus on small business leadership, small business finance, concept development and pitching to investors, visionary leadership, business planning and building out a larger business plan, lean marketing, where you're thinking not just about the business at large, not just about marketing, but how does the marketing fit in with the business that you're building, and how do you allow yourself to carve out time for essential advertising and marketing when you are in a position where you're running the business, you're the manager of a number of employees, you have to worry about numbers, you have to worry about revenue, all this sort of stuff. How do you apply time for marketing? So more classes available than just what I have here, but this is just a snapshot of kind of what we offer Talk about that a little bit more in a future slide here as well, but just to give you kind of an idea. And then in addition to the courses, that 30 credits, 10 courses to get yourself a graduate degree, we offer experiential events. The Climb is our annual business pitch competition. We're currently in the middle of that right now. That peaks in late April with our finalists presenting their ideas to a panel of judges in front of the larger community and potentially winning money that can go towards their business plan idea. The Best of Colorado Speaker Series, we have a number of speakers that come through our center, offer insights, Q&A, overall advice to entrepreneurial students based on their experience. We have mentorship opportunities with local entrepreneurs. So if you're looking for a one-on-one conversation with an entrepreneur that fits what you're looking for from an advice standpoint, challenges you, puts you in a position for networking opportunities, we can set that up. And then internship opportunities for credit, all done locally to put you in a position where you're able to gain the work experience that you need for credit, plus those networking opportunities to make sure you're in a position for success after graduation. We'll talk a little bit more in depth, but again, if there's any questions you guys have throughout this, do not hesitate to throw them into the chat box. You'll see that on your screen, and I'd be more than happy to answer anything as we go through here. So the program structure, as I noted, this is a customizable 30 credit curriculum. Just to reiterate, you take any 10 entrepreneurship courses in any order you choose. So we will go ahead and set up your degree plan. That degree plan is adaptable. That degree plan can adjust on a term-by-term basis as needed. But when you ultimately build out your degree plan, you will be choosing 10 entrepreneurship courses in any order that you choose. Classes are offered in either an online or an in-person format. You will be advised and alerted to how they are taught in the lead up to your degree planning. And on an annual basis, we update our catalog and give all students an idea of what classes are offered online versus in person. We try to adjust that and switch it around as much as possible to give students as many opportunities as they possibly can to take as many classes as they want. We are more than happy to talk a little bit about kind of what that looks like for you from a degree planning standpoint to make sure that you're in a position to understand what works best for you. I just had a great question come in about funding and scholarships. I will be getting to that here in a couple of slides, so just bear with me. I promise I will be addressing funding and scholarships here shortly and give you a full breakdown on that. Thank you for that question. That's definitely top of mind for a lot of people. The program is stackable by design. What this ultimately means is you can come in, you can take certificate related courses for an entrepreneurial certificate and apply that to a different degree. We offer dual degree options with information systems and the 1-year MBA program. You can get a diverse range of skills and understanding of not just entrepreneurship, but also how to apply that to other industries. There's a trialability that comes with this program. You don't have to come into this program and immediately commit to 10 courses. You can take 3 and take a little bit of time for yourself. Take another 3, take a little bit of time for yourself. You could come in, you could just take the 3 and be done and have a certificate. I'll talk about that here in a second. But there's a lot of ways that you can stack this within a larger degree study program to put yourself in a position where you have as many skill sets as possible, as much information as potentially needed to succeed in your larger career. I noted this on the previous slide, but there's experiential components such as the Climb, our business plan competition, mentorships, internships, all of those complement your overall studies. As I noted, dual degree option with our information systems degree, as well as the 1-year MBA program. We had a number of students complete the 1-year MBA program here at CU Denver. When they finished that up in July of 2024, they immediately jumped in to the entrepreneurship program, where they took 7 entrepreneurship classes to get a dual degree in both entrepreneurship and the 1-year MBA. Really good way to really showcase diversity in your overall skill set. And then for CU Denver undergrads, if there's anyone here who's an undergraduate student at CU Denver, we offer the 4+1 option, which allows you to complete your bachelor's degree, sub out your final 2 bachelor's degree courses for 2 graduate entrepreneurship courses, and then jump into your entrepreneurship program the following fall. Take 4 classes in the fall and 4 classes in spring. You graduate with your bachelor's and master's in 5 years. Pretty amazing stuff. More than happy to talk more about that if that applies to you. All right, from a curriculum standpoint, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think it is important to just, make sure a couple of these things are in mind. 10 courses across 30 credits. So 10 courses is all that you need to graduate from this program. And it can be any 10 courses. We'll work together to build out the best degree plan for you, but 10 courses is all you're looking for. Things like AI-driven entrepreneurship, high impact sales for entrepreneurs to really drive revenue for you, leadership and new ventures, how to build out your overall leadership skill set, your overall leadership perspective, purpose driven entrepreneurship. How do you grow revenue and then say, we're going to take a chunk of this revenue and put it towards a service for others or a mission for others? How do you build out an organization then that focuses on that? And then business model development and planning. How do you build out a business plan and pitch that to investors and put yourself in a position where you are ready by the conclusion of this program to hit the ground running in terms of promoting yourself, promoting your brand, promoting your overall product. There are study abroad options that we have in both Cuba and Barcelona to give you more hands-on, international focused entrepreneurship. The Cuba program obviously showcases entrepreneurship in an emerging economy and how entrepreneurship can help fill the gaps that NGOs and government organizations are not able to fully fill. Puts people in a position where they can really respect and understand the private market and how that can help bring an economy out of the doldrums and out of larger challenges. And then Barcelona gives you a little bit more of a cultural flair perspective on what ultimately entrepreneurship looks like outside of the United States. There are no prerequisites in this program. The goal of this program is to put you in a position where you determine your education based on your interest, your skill gaps, what you're looking for. So no prerequisites. At no point will we say you cannot take that course because you haven't taken these courses. Part of my job is to advise you on the order I would encourage you to take courses, but it's not necessarily here to say absolutely not, you cannot take that. This is designed for working professionals. It's self-paced, got a hybrid component, an in-person component as well, but is not necessary to take every course in person. Ultimately, if you are a working professional trying to go back to school to get additional certification, to take that next step forward as an entrepreneur, this is the program for you. There's internship options, as I've noted, and then there's a very flexible completion cycle. You can complete this in as short as 1 year or as much as 5 years. So you coming into the program really can determine where am I going to go. Not a lot of programs work like this. A lot are like, hey, you got 27 months. That's the program. Our program will say if you can only handle one class this semester, that's totally fine. You want to take 3 the next semester, that works. You want to take 6 this semester to really put yourself in a strong position to graduate, I'm more than happy to help you on that. So don't if you're thinking about going back to school and you're like, I don't know if I have the time or the ability to, know that a program like this will be there to assist you to make sure that we're able to make this work for you. So I've mentioned certificates a little bit so far in this presentation. I want to just dive into it here on this page. One of the cool things that this program offers is the stackability. And so that comes in 2 ways. One, you can come into this program as a certificate student, take 3 courses, receive an MS level certificate, put that on your LinkedIn, put that on your resume, and then go on your way. Maybe you got the 3 courses that you needed and you're totally fine. You just go on your way. Or an option with that is you take those 3 courses, you get your certificate, and then you come back and say, hey, I actually want to finish my degree. It seamlessly goes into your degree. Or you decide that you want to take the full master's. You know that you want a master's. You know that more than 3 courses appeal to you, so you go ahead and enroll in the full master's. But every 3 courses, you still get a certificate. So at no point will you take 3 courses and when we say, okay, cool, just keep going, you'll get a certificate at that point to really showcase your overall accomplishments. This way, if you've told family, friends, coworkers you're going back to school, they don't spend 2 years going, okay, well, when are you finish? Like they see accomplishment, they see the next steps for you as you move forward in the program. You can, with pride, showcase I'm ultimately taking the next step forward in my career. Trialability is a real key feature here. You are not required to be registered in a master's program to enroll in the certificate. That's something that just is a part of the overall program from the jump if you want to do that. This allows electives to expand the program, provides avenues for students to focus on what they want to study, things like bioinnovation and international business. You can really take those interests, apply them to the MS in Entrepreneurship program, and then step out, step back in as much as you want. So we've talked about kind of the nuts and bolts of the program here, but why ultimately is this the right program for you? Why, if you're thinking about going back to school, should you consider SEEP Denver? Well, I've got 5 reasons I think we should consider here. Number one is the exclusivity. We are the only MS in entrepreneurship in Colorado, and we will remain that way for a significant period in time. With exclusivity, you get preeminent professors teaching these programs, teaching these courses, direct access to entrepreneurs who have not been poached by another university. You really get in a position where you are able to be studying from the best, by the best, put yourself in a position where you're able to know you're in good hands here. Affordability. This is something I'll talk about here in a couple of slides when I address tuition and scholarships, but we offer a subsidized tuition rate for all students. So all in-state students pay a little bit less than they could expect to pay. All out-of-state students pay significantly less than they could expect to pay. And we also offer scholarships for all of our courses. I'll go over kind of the details of how you would need to apply for a scholarship, but there are scholarships available for all of our courses to knock off a significant chunk of the overall tuition. In addition, CU Denver at large offers scholarships for students. I can send you information on as well. Another reason here is the flexibility. I kind of talked about this, but classes are offered both online, in person, and hybrid, and you build your own curriculum. So you never have to worry going into a semester like, oh man, if I don't take these 4 classes, I'm not going to be able to take the next 3 classes. With no prerequisites, with total flexibility for students, if you come into a term and you say, I can only handle one class this semester, that's all we do. If you want to take one of our more advanced courses before you take foundational courses, that's on you. If you feel like you're best prepared for it, we're not going to turn you down. Ultimately, you and I will build out your degree plan and we will update it on a semester by semester basis to put you in a position where you feel like you are taking on everything you can handle while also putting yourself in a position where you're able to graduate in the time frame that you want. The experiential nature, we want you to go beyond the classroom and learn by doing. The goal here is not simply for you to be behind a book, behind a computer learning theoretically. The whole goal here is for you to be in a position where you learn and then you apply that learning. And by applying that learning, you're putting yourself in a position where you are not necessarily, you're not risking a ton through your actions. You're learning through your actions. You're learning through simulations. So when you graduate, now you're ready to take whatever money you've made, or whatever money you have, or whatever money you're able to raise towards your business without the large risk of doing it alone before going back to school. And then finally, a mindset shift. Regardless if you decide to start your own business or you go and work for someone else, the goal here is to learn how to create growth with minimal resources. So if you start your own business, you're going to know from the jump what exactly you need to survive and what you can live without to really be successful as a business owner. If you decide to go and work for another company and put yourself in a position where you are going after a leadership role, this is still going to prepare you for that because this is having you think about small business leadership, which is essentially a team in a larger organization. A lot of flexibility here, a lot of focus on your overall mindset, putting yourself in a position where you are able to be as successful as possible, regardless what you decide to do following your degree. In terms of the larger goals and the learning outcomes that we are hoping that you grasp from this program, we want you to cultivate an entrepreneurial mindset. This speaks to what I was just talking about with the mindset shift. Regardless if you start your own business or regardless if you work for a larger corporation in a leadership role, we want you to think entrepreneurially as you work through your career. What can I do with as little resources as possible to be as successful as possible for this organization? That is critical. That is essential for so many organizations to remain adaptable and agile and put you in a position where you're able to bring skill sets and be successful in your career, regardless if you're owning a business or working for someone else. We want you to be able to communicate effectively. The goal here is to apply effective and professional written and verbal communication skills around new concepts and ventures so you can speak publicly, you can speak to professionals within the field, investors, other entrepreneurs, and really put yourself in a position where you can be clear-minded in your communication around what you offer and why you should be invested in. Leading entrepreneurially, this is so that you can collaborate and lead effectively within diverse business teams, leveraging teamwork and leadership skills in new ventures. Be mission driven. We want you to gain an understanding around the impact of different socio-cultural, political, institutional, legal, financial, and/or economic contexts on business ventures and new strategies. A lot constantly changing in our world. One thing that will not change is the fact that there are a lot of different people seeking the same thing. They're seeking success professionally. We want you to be able to work with all of them, regardless where they come from, regardless what their views on the world are. That mission-driven focus is really putting you in a position where you're able to be successful long-term, regardless who it is you're working with. Capitalizing on innovation. We want you as a student to embrace risk-taking and creative problem-solving in both an organization you're working for as well as in a career. We want you to continually evolve in today's uncertain and skills-driven markets. The goal here is when you come out of this, you are an entrepreneur, regardless if you own a business or you're working for someone else. And then finally, go beyond just theory. We want you to leverage real-world experience and collaborative networks in order to succeed in an entrepreneurial organization or startup. So you're not just going to read about the stuff you're learning about. You're going to do it. You're going to be a part of the Climb, our business competition every year, where you present your ideas to investors, where you push your ideas forward, where you develop business plans and gain feedback on those, and then update that and get feedback again, and then hopefully present your ideas in front of a large audience and win money for your business. We want you to do internships where you can really put your skill set and your interests to page and put yourself in a position where you're able to showcase the skills that you've learned and how successful you could be long term. We want you to be in mentorships where you're communicating with entrepreneurs, sharing your vision, sharing your challenges, sharing what you're trying to do to change the world, and getting feedback from them. All of that is a part of our going beyond just theory learning outcome objective. We want you to be in a position where when you leave our campus, when you leave our program, you're ready to do all of this independently. I talked a bit about the idea of experiential learning, but I figured it'd be best to give you a quick rundown here because this is something that is at the core of our program. This is the process of learning through experience and learning through reflection on doing. The MS Entrepreneurship program focuses on testing out real ideas and getting real feedback from day one. We do not want you passively going through this program. We want you thinking like an entrepreneur from day one. We want to set you up with networking opportunities so that you're able to meet other entrepreneurs and put yourself in a position where you can really test your communication skills. Allow you to gain credit through internships. Put yourself in a position where you were able to work a job for 4 to 6 months, potentially gain some money, but more importantly, gain skill sets for an organization, for a field, insights, feedback, and introductions to other people working in that field. So if that's where your passion is, or if there are aspects of your overall internship that allow you to take this next step in your overall career, we want you to have that opportunity. The climb, I've mentioned this a couple of times, but this is something from a competition and student club standpoint, I would highlight it over and over again. The Rep Bridges Venture Fund, where you kind of flip the idea of entrepreneurship on its head. You think like a investor overseeing a venture fund where you are able to make determination of investments that you should make into different startups and different organizations, which allows you to think a little bit differently about the sales process as an entrepreneur. Excuse me. And then finally, mentorships, connections with entrepreneurs here in Denver, putting you in a position where you're able to broaden your overall communication skill set and really work with people to develop relationships and to develop your larger network. So tying into the mentorship side of things, we have a advisory council, which you can view on our webpage, which includes some of Colorado's most recognizable entrepreneurs, innovators, and other industry experts. People like Joel Apple, the co-founder of OxyClean, Orange Glow, Kaboom, and Zadie's Deli. He's a fantastically successful entrepreneur here in Colorado, mentors a number of our students as well as teaches classes. Karen Hertz, the chief brewista and founder of Holidaily Brewing Company, the largest gluten-free brewery in America. And Sam Kumar, a CEO and founder of CyberSanic, which focuses on cyber scams and digital disruption. The members of the advisory council serve as mentors for MS Entrepreneurship students. And then they also offer internship and networking opportunities. I say this to every student who's thinking about doing our program. The mentorship side of things is probably the most important thing that you could possibly do within the program. We will help facilitate that and set that process up. But man, if you're learning and you're interested and you're trying to expand your overall horizons and you're trying to understand the world at large through entrepreneurship, working with a mentor is going to just blow your mind, expand your reach here in Colorado, and put you in a position where you're going to better understand what it is that you're capable of based on someone who has done it, their feedback. In addition, CU Denver has a business career center that many students utilize as they are working through their program. These advisors at the Business Career Center work exclusively with business school students, and they connect to the business community around Denver at large. Things like career fairs, industry shadow days, meetings with firms, lots and lots of different opportunities for you to take that next step and really add on to what you're learning here in the MS Entrepreneurship program through work with the Business Career Center. This allows you to develop strategies to execute career goals, things like mock interviews, resume help, salary negotiations, internships and job searches. There's a lot of different resources that I swear students don't utilize as much as they should because, man, if you're looking for that first job, if you're looking for an interview that can get you on your feet again, if you're looking for, how to negotiate overall salary, they will help you immensely with that. All right, I got a question earlier about tuition. I'm going to go over this here on this page and then scholarships in 2 pages. So just bear with me. I can answer any additional specific questions about tuition either here at the end of this presentation or in a private Zoom meeting. Just let me know what works best. But you see our current in-state and non-resident tuition listed. The in-state tuition rate is $750 per credit hour, which means each course is $2,250 per course. Our non-resident tuition rate is $900 per credit, significantly lower than what you'll see at the larger business school and really anything nationally. This equals $2,700 from a course standpoint. The estimated total cost of the program as of today is between $26,000 and $34,000. This includes fees from the university. Please do note, just really want to make sure that this is mindful. Tuition and university fees are subject to change. We we release our updated catalog every March. And at that point, we update our overall tuition figures. Similarly, the university updates their tuition in March and April. When they release it, they release their updated fees for students. This number could go up slightly. We do everything we can to try to keep it as low as possible, but it could go up a little bit based on annual inflation. And before I jump into the scholarships, I want to give everyone a quick overview of the application because we have upcoming deadlines and we are working with students right now for their applications for both summer and fall 2025. So for domestic students, the application is what follows: an application information, short answer essay questions, an updated resume, and transcripts, which is needed from all institutions where credit was awarded. There's no GMAT or GRE required. References and interviews are optional. We may ask you to write a GMAT waiver essay if your GPA is below a 3.0, and we need explanation as to why you think you'll be successful in this program, even without taking the GMAT. But we do everything we can to take the GMAT out of the requirements for this program. There's an application fee of $50. However, if you've attended this webinar, you'll happily get that application fee waived. You just have to let me know and I will plug it into our system. And then our fall 25 deadlines are coming up. Our first deadline, the domestic priority deadline, is May 15th. And then our final deadline is July 15th. Last deadline to apply for the program, July 15th. For international students, similar overall structure to the application, some things slightly different. I'll go through it here right now. So everything from like the essay questions, resume, transcripts, that's all the same. There is, however, a $75 application fee. I'll give you kind of an idea of why that is a little bit higher here shortly. You need to get an international credit evaluation to qualify for review for the program. What is an international credit evaluation? Basically reviews your grades and your courses that you took and interprets them in the American school system. There are two companies that we recommend using. They're linked on this page here, ECE or WES. However, CU Denver does have an in-house credit evaluator that will work with all students within their program. That's, however, though, where the $75 application fee comes into play. Let me know if you have any questions about that. I'm happy to clarify, but that's essentially where the fee comes in, is if you're looking to use us versus WES or ECE. I would recommend us. We are less expensive than WES or ECE, but I leave that all entirely in your hands. English language proficiency is essential to be accepted in this program. You could take the TOEFL, the IELTS, you could take Duolingo. There's a lot of different options for you to showcase your proficiency in English. Ultimately, you will have to have that to be reviewed for admission. Even before you are actually reviewed, you need that to ensure we're able to move forward with the review. You're also applying for the F1 student visa. I am more than happy to talk with you through what that visa looks like, what that process is. It typically takes a couple of weeks to get completed. So I always inform students, get that in as soon as possible so that you don't have to worry about it, so that your thoughts, your focus entirely is on the academic side of things. Great question. Is there a waiver for those who attend the webinar for the application fee? So technically, yes. However, if you get that waiver, you will not be able to get the CU Denver in-house credit evaluation. So I apologize. We try to find out whatever ways we can to possibly work with every student in this sort of standpoint. Just as kind of further insight, the international credit evaluation through WES or ECE is about $300. The one through CU Denver is $75. So if you know that this is a school you want to go to and you are dead set on here, I would pay that $75, have the university review and evaluate your overall transcripts. Conversely, if you're thinking, hey, I don't know if I want to go CU Denver, I'm applying to like 5 or 6 schools, then I would use West or ECE, pay the money. You then have a international credential evaluation that can go to any school. And then you'd be eligible to be waived that $75 application fee. So trying to figure out whatever ways we can work with you guys here. Just let me know what works best for you, James, and I will advise you accordingly. Deadlines for international students. The priority deadline is coming up. It is March 15th. The final deadline for international students is May 15th. So anything after May 15th, then you will start having to apply for spring of 2026. But if you're thinking you want to apply for summer 2025, March and May 15th are the two final dates you want to keep in mind. One thing I do want to just really quickly address, I don't have it in this presentation, but it's certainly something I've been getting questions about from students, especially international students. But I just want to address it here really quickly. We offer 3 start dates: fall, spring, and summer. Summer is unfortunately not available to international students because as an international student applying for the F1 visa, you are required to take at least 1 in-person class per term, and we don't offer any in-person classes in the summer term. So I just want to be mindful if there's anyone here who's thinking about applying, if you're an international student, make sure you're choosing fall or spring as your start date. And again, I've said this a couple times, but I'll just reiterate it. I'm going to post my Calendly information here again. But I just want you all to be mindful that I am available to have any conversation with you about your application, about your visa, about your program, whatever it may be. Do not hesitate to book an appointment on my calendar. Sometimes it works out better for us to have that one-on-one conversation where you can ask questions, I can answer questions, and we can kind of get in the weeds about your specific situations. All right, there was a great question earlier about scholarships. I want to go over that. We are very lucky here at the Jake Job Center. We have a great scholarship fund that we are able to award scholarships for students to receive potentially a scholarship per entrepreneurship course. Little asterisk there, you must apply each semester for what courses are being taken. Don't worry, I will give you as much heads up as possible for scholarships. I will give you as many reminders as possible. I encourage every student to apply for scholarships so that you're able to be in a position where you can get the assistance financially that you may need to move forward with your overall program, to continue with your studies. That scholarship is the Mordecai Scholarship. You'll be able to search for it on the Scholarship Universe page when you have enrolled in the program. There's a short application you need to complete: your name, your CU Denver ID, your current CU and transfer GPA, classes you're registering for, a short essay, and then if you're a degree or non-degree student, you also need to post your FAFSA score or your international FAFSA score so that we are able to make a determination based off of both merit as well as need. There are additional scholarships available at CU Denver. I will send you as well. I would pretty much send any student, whoever inquires about this program, direct links to our scholarship as well as CU Denver scholarships. So if you don't have that, let me know and I'll send you that email here shortly. I want to be very, 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 very clear about 2 things, just really, really quickly. Number one, it is almost impossible. I shouldn't say impossible, but I've very rarely seen it for students to get a full ride scholarship for graduate school. Most grad school scholarships will take parts of the overall tuition, but you will more than likely still be required to pay tuition in some way, shape, or form to the program. It's very hard to get a full ride scholarship for a graduate degree. That said, there are national scholarships for international students, CU Denver scholarships, our scholarship. There are ways for you to piece together a good amount of money to save you some money for the overall program. And I'm happy to send you resources as needed. The other thing is when you're applying for the visa as an international student, you are required to show the United States government that you have up to about $50,000 in a bank account that you can access at a moment's notice. This is a non-negotiable with the US government. This is to prevent you from being in a position where you are here in the United States, something happens and you don't have any resources to get the help that you need. That is a very real requirement that you cannot come here without that. Um, if you have questions about that, if that's going to be a problem or a challenge, do not hesitate to let me know. We can talk through some potential strategies. But I just want you to be mindful that that is a requirement, even as we are able to do whatever we can to help you as much as possible to succeed in the overall program. And again, I am more than happy to answer any questions that you may have about that on an individual basis. All right, finally, a couple student testimonials to give you a sense of what do our students think about this program. Last spring, we graduated a very bright student named Joey Dykman, who had this to say. He was one of our finalists for the Climb a couple of years ago. One of my favorite aspects about the MS in Entrepreneurship program is the hands-on experience you get in each class. It's not just regurgitating knowledge and following a textbook. It really feels like the instructors care about you and want you to foster your development through these programs. You're able to bounce ideas off fellow students and faculty members. It's a great culture and a great place to learn. That is, once again, Joey Dykman, MS in Entrepreneurship graduate last spring. And then one of our certificate students had this to say about the flexibility and about the adaptability of the program. As a founder and CEO of a nonprofit organization, I wanted to perfect my skills as a leader, learn best practices from other entrepreneurs, and share my experiences of what I've learned thus far in my journey. My instructors have taught me the good, the bad, and the ugly through their own firsthand experience and by providing a host of amazing guest speakers. I've learned so much from my classes. It's a priceless experience. That is Dr. Carletta Stewart, again, one of our entrepreneurship certificate students, talking a bit about her experience within the program. So as you can tell, and this is just a small snapshot of what our students have thought within the program who have completed it. This is a hands-on experiential program that is here to meet you where you are and take you to where you want to go. The goal here is to put you in a position where if you're working full-time, if you have family, if you have other responsibilities, you are still able to make this program work. You will be challenged, not just theoretically, but from a real experiential, applicable standpoint to put you in a position where you can succeed long-term. So with that, I once again have my information up on this page. My email, my phone number, the website here of the Jake Jabs Center. I am more than happy to take any questions that anyone has. If you have anything, do not hesitate to reach, throw it in the chat. Otherwise, don't hesitate to set up an appointment via my Calendly link. All right, we got a great question here. What is the typical class size and how many students are in the program? That is a great question. So the program at large, we have just under 50 students. That is where we find ourselves to be most successful in terms of giving you a wealth of students and perspectives and information to really share and collaborate on, while also being able to focus independently and personally on you as a student. Our classes, the minimum class size for our classes is 15 students. We tend to see at the graduate level classes be around that 15, 20 student size. Certain others tend to build up in terms of the amount of students that are in the class. But the goal here, again, is that connection between your professor and you, similar to your connection between yourself and mentors within the program. We want this to be as hands-on as possible, as intimate as possible, while also making you feel like you're in a position where you are meeting a lot of different people with a lot of different perspectives. Got one that came in. How many years is it exactly? I don't understand the 1 to 5 year. Okay, so that's a great question. So it's a flexible program. So you could come in and say, I want to be done with this program within 1 year. We build out a degree plan that would get you to graduate within 1 year, and you're out within 1 year. Similarly, you could come in and say, you know what, I have a full-time job, I have a family, I want to finish this in a realistic amount of time, but I also can't overwhelm myself. I have other responsibilities. Totally fine. We offer classes that start, um, all of our classes are 8 weeks. So we're able to really work within the larger semester at hand, put you in a position where you are focused, you're in classes, you're continuing to study, but you are not necessarily overwhelmed. And we can really work with you on that to make sure that that happens. The longest amount of time that you could take this program is 5 years. That's the limit. So within 5 years, if you enter in fall of 2025, you will have until the end of the 2030 term to graduate from the program. I will work with you to make sure that we have a full understanding of how many more classes do you need? What is the expectation here? When are you looking to graduate? You'll get that one-on-one attention to make sure that if your needs change, if your responsibilities at home change, if your commitment level rises or falls, we can still have you on track to graduate. Does that, I hope that that answers the question. I'm happy to give any more clarity if that does not. Right. Perfect. Perfect. What else do you guys have? One thing I'll note, this tends to be a question that comes up in these webinars. Um, so I noted our deadlines. The priority deadline for international students is March 12th. Uh, Great question here. I'll circle right back to this once I finish here. The final deadline is May 15th. The priority deadline for domestic students is May 15th. The final deadline is July 12th. I would not wait until the deadline in any case to apply. Um, Great question about scholarships. I will answer that here in a second. Um, I would not wait until the deadline to apply at all. I would apply now. The benefits of applying now is you get to really kind of take a deep breath, focus on putting your best foot forward, really committing to understanding the program, really committing to communicate to myself, our team, our admissions department, why you are the right fit for the program. And then if we're able to work you through the application process relatively seamlessly and relatively quickly, now all you have is time to make sure your finances are in order, apply for scholarships, prepare for your courses, register for your courses, explore things like our mentorship opportunities, start to consider internships. There's so much that you can do before the program actually begins that I would encourage you to apply as early as possible. Get that decision, especially if you're on a visa. You want to make sure that you have that information in hand as soon as possible so you can then go ahead and apply for your visa and make sure that that in and of itself is not a stressful process. So I post the deadlines just so you know when everything is finalized and everything is due. I would personally not have any. I would not recommend waiting to the deadlines for any reason unless you absolutely have to. Um, Circling back here, the question about the how long you can complete the program and if this would have an impact on the visa. This is a great question for any student here who is applying internationally. You are required as an international student to take 5 credits per term. So this equals 2 classes per term. If you take 2 classes each term, and that's the level of classes that you take, you would graduate in 5 semesters, so 2.5 years. If you started this program here in fall of 2025, you would graduate in fall of 2027. So yes, there is a little bit of a limitation on an international student standpoint. You cannot take below 2 classes per term, but 2.5 years is typically what most international students will do within the program because that allows them to then extend their OPT time for a year and really be in the United States for about 3 to 4 years from a larger studying plus work experience standpoint. I'm more than happy to talk in individually about kind of how the nuances of all that, make sure that we're able to build out your schedule in a way that works for you. But that's a fantastic clarifying question. You would be required as an international student. The longest you could take your program is 2.5 years. Um, Another question, is there any deadline for the scholarship application? That's a fantastic question. So we keep the scholarship application open right up until census date for each term. So we need to determine the amount of students who are in our classes, as well as those who qualify for the scholarships before awarding the finances. So right now, for the fall term, you have about 6 months before your scholarship application is due. I have seen many, many students complete the scholarship application within an evening, 2 nights, a week. I would not stress that much about that right now. I would focus on the application, the visa application, and then jump into the scholarships. But yes, you will have until census date each term to complete that. All right, really quick here. Uh, Thank you for the insights. Might be beyond my accessibility as a performing artist and small mobile entertainment company owner. Lots to think about and consider. I appreciate that comment. I think that you would actually be a really strong fit for this because the work that you're in is small business ownership. Um, Throw some time on my calendar, send me an email. You can see my email on the screen and we can set up a time to talk. What our goal of our program is, regardless what your product is, we want you to learn all the skills of developing a strong business pitch and a strong business plan, all the skills and resources to run a business, from everything from the management side of things to the marketing side of things to the sales to the accounting, how AI can incorporate in this, so on and so forth. There's so many different nuances that you can apply to this. And because the program is designed to be stackable and experiential, the goal here is that regardless what it is that you're selling, regardless what your business is, this can apply to that. So just be mindful that there's a lot of um, there's a lot of opportunity for you coming from an arts background to benefit from this, and I would be more than happy to talk with you about that and see if it's ultimately right for you. Are the internships limited for 6 months? Even though you decide to take your program within 3 years, it could be immediately after beginning your classes. So, I think I'm going to try to answer this right. Let me know if there's any clarifying answer that you need here. You're allowed to take 2 internships within the program. Those internships typically last for the length of a semester, which is about 5 months. A 3 credit internship is 150 hours, which is basically about 10 hours per week throughout the entire semester. There's a bit of flexibility around the start date of internships, which we can talk about as you start applying for internships and as we get you to that position. Um, but um, you would be limited to 2 internships for credit within your overall program, as internships are typically 3 credits. I don't want to go too far down this road, but there are ways that we can make an internship work as less credits to give you more opportunities for internships. But that's kind of on a case by case basis. But I'm hoping that answers your question in terms of the length of time for them. Let me know if you have any other questions there. In terms of when you can start taking internships, we recommend all students, and it's essentially a policy for us that they don't take an internship until their second semester. We want to get to know you. We want to get to know you as a student, what your interests are, what you're looking for within your overall program. And that better allows us to present you to organizations that we know of, that can serve you best from an internship standpoint. There are, if you came to the program and you said, "Hey, I have a company that wants to offer me an internship," we can start that process. It typically takes about 2 to 3 months for everything within an internship to be finalized, everything from a job description from an employer to the university approval process for your internship to count for credit. So it can be really complicated to do that coming into the program. But case by case basis are case by case by in nature. So I hope that answers all your questions. I know it's a lot of if this, then this. but this. I'm happy to talk independently if you want to set up an appointment to talk through what you're thinking and make sure that you're in a position where you feel like, okay, this is right for me. The one thing I will add is we do everything that we can to set students up with internships that will provide a stipend or will provide payment. We cannot guarantee that that will be what every internship offers. So the expectation around internships is that it should complement your studies, take what you're learning, and really put you in a position where you're able to apply your studies and what you're learning and where you are from a career standpoint. Um, into the uh, into the workforce. Um, all right, we have one question here regarding visa applications. Let's talk independently about that. The visa application process itself. I've got a bunch of information I can share with you with regards to that. So set up a time on my calendar, and we can talk specifically about your visa questions. Any other questions that you might have? Guys have been a very active and participatory group. I really appreciate it. The nature of these things is sometimes it can feel like I'm speaking into the void. So it's very helpful that you all came prepared with really good questions. If there's no others, I'm gonna close it down here today. Once again, my contact information is on the screen here. Do not hesitate to send me an email. Do not hesitate to set up an appointment on my calendar. I think you all, based on our conversation here today, would be a great fit for our program. I would be more than happy to work with you to ensure that you're able to get as successful, find as much success as possible within this world. Denver's a great city. It's very cold right now in the moment, but it will be very warm in a couple weeks, I can promise. It's great weather here most of the time. There's great restaurants. There's great entrepreneurs here. There's great access to the mountains, really fun sports. The airport is really accessible, and you can travel to most parts of the country within just a couple of hours. So it's a good home base to be in if you're coming here internationally. If you live in the US, Denver's kind of one of these growing cities where you have the opportunity to work with both young companies and established companies. There's great neighborhoods here. Just a great place to be overall. Our program, being in the heart of Denver, gives you a ton of access to the larger business community. And as I've noted here repeatedly, the focus on experiential education gives you an opportunity where when you come here, you're not just reading about what it means to be a business leader, you're actually putting it to action. So I'm going to close this out. One last great question. Can we get a recording of this meeting? Yes, I'll be sending out a recording of this meeting tomorrow to all attendees. So you have that ability to rewatch this if there's anything you missed. But I will note as well, I cover a lot of this information in one-on-one phone calls or one-on-one Zoom calls with students. Do not hesitate to go ahead and set up an appointment with me. We can go over anything any questions you have, any clarifications that you may need, as well as how specific bits of information apply to you directly in your situation. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and wish you all a wonderful rest of your Wednesday here. Hope that you all have a great rest of your week. Let me know again if you have any questions. Feel free to set up an appointment, send me a quick email. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Thank you all, and I look forward to working with you here in the coming weeks and months and years. Thanks so much.